Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel, or if you're new, welcome. My name is Steph and I am a romance reader. I have a super exciting video for you guys today. I am talking about my favorite author. I mean, it's super exciting for me, hopefully for you. If you clicked on this video, it's probably because you're a big fan of Colleen Hoover. Not sure what I'm gonna title this video yet, but definitely something about Colleen Hoover. She is my favorite author. I have quite a few of her books on paperback and I hope to own all of them soon. Every time I pick up a Colleen Hoover book, I know it's gonna be 5 stars. I have yet to read a book by Colleen Hoover that I haven't rated 5 stars. So yeah, I am super excited. I am not going to be putting any spoilers into this video, so the descriptions might be a little bit vague because honestly you don't want to know too much going into Colleen Hoover. I feel like I'm going to probably talk about, you know, a little bit of the gist of the book if I have read it, and I'm going to try and rank them, so it's going to be really hard for me to rank them, but let's get right into the video. Let's talk about the Colleen Hoover books I have read. Obviously I can't comment on the ones I haven't read, but I have read quite a lot. I have read quite a lot of her books, and I feel like I've read most of the most popular ones that she has. Some of them I don't own on paperback, so if you don't see the book in my hand, it'll probably be a little picture popped up on the screen so you can see what the cover looks like. Thought I would address this. If you've watched the last few of my videos, I have reorganized my bookshelf, which this side here is all my fantasy books, which I am not into this genre currently. It's mostly what I read in high school, but this is all of my romance, and I reorganized them after I did my little book haul. So here is that shelf there, and I had them in rainbow order before, but I really just wanted the rainbow to be kind of shifted down a bit so that way you could actually see it in the video. Hopefully this sweater isn't super distracting because it is literally a highlighter. But anyways, let's get right into chatting about the books. First thing actually I thought I'd mention is the bookmarks that I'm currently using, and I wanted to talk about them because I feel like not a lot of people talk about the bookmarks that they use, and maybe that's because they don't use fancy bookmarks, but I have been really into making resin crafts and things like that. I am a very crafty person. I went to college to like a craft and design school, so I'm super passionate about that, and I feel like that's why I'm really drawn to very beautiful covers and things like that. Got my cup here, it says I can totally make that, which my best friend got me. I'll definitely need a drink while talking about these books because I literally could go on forever. So yeah, I'm going to show you a couple of the bookmarks that I currently am using and that I have made. And first I made this one here, which says romance reader on it. I am the biggest romance reader. It's literally all I read. Me and my sister read books together, and she's always like, oh my god, I just read this amazing thriller, because she's into romance and thriller as well, and she's like, you should really check it out. And I'm like, you know that I really have to be in the mood to read something different, and it's not all that often that I read something that's out of the romance genre. So yeah, if you're not into romance, it's probably not the channel for you, because that is mostly, I mean, literally all I talk about. So there's this one here, super pretty, loved that. And then I have this one here, which has my name on it. Absolutely love it, with the gold flakes and stuff. And then this one here says, I'm a coho, because I absolutely am. And I love the colors that I decided to go with for this here. So beautiful, and I definitely based this one off of the book cover of Reminders of Him with the colors in it. Had just finished reading Reminders of Him when I started making these bookmarks, so that definitely persuaded me to pick these colors. Okay, so in no particular order, I'm going to start it with the first book on the stack. That is Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. This is actually her most recent release. I had this book pre-ordered because, like I said, Colleen Hoover is my favorite author. When I seen that this book was coming out, added it to the cart completely on Amazon, was like, yes, I need this. So I feel like maybe I'll just read the back of it for you. It says, after serving 5 years in prison from a tragic mistake, Kenna Rowan returns to the town where it all went wrong, hoping to reunite with her 4-year-old daughter. But the bridges Kenna burned are proving impossible to rebuild. Everyone in her daughter's life is determined to shut Kenna out, no matter how hard she works to prove herself. The only person who hasn't closed the door on her completely is Ledger Ward, a local bar owner and one of the few remaining links to Kenna's daughter. But if anyone were to discover how Ledger is slowly becoming an important part of Kenna's life, both would risk losing the trust of everyone important to them. The two form a connection despite the pressure surrounding them, but as the romance grows, so does the risk. Kenna must find a way to absolve the mistakes of her past in order to rebuild a future and hope of healing. Okay, so that is the gist of the book. Like it says on the back, follows our main character Kenna. She's just gotten out of prison. Obviously she doesn't have custody of her daughter. Her daughter actually lives with her dad's parents, so that will be her grandparents. So yeah, they don't let Kenna see her, obviously for the reasons that she's in prison, which you will find out when you read the book, because I am not spoiling anything. And she's not allowed to see her. They want her to put her life back together. You know, they don't want anything to do with her. They're like, no, like this is the reason. We have a very valid reason of why you cannot see her. Kenna is just super heartbroken. She wants to have a relationship with her daughter. She is trying to put her life back together, trying to get a job. When we follow the main character first walking into a bar when she gets back to town, and she meets Ledger. Obviously a few things happen before he finds out who she is exactly. Then he's kind of too far in, and like it said on the back, they have this chemistry they cannot deny, but it would affect his relationship with DM, which is the daughter's name. It would affect his relationship with her and the chances of seeing her, so he does not want to risk that. Honestly, this book was so amazing. There's nothing else I need to say about this because I'm not giving any spoilers out, but definitely need to read this book. The next book I'm going to talk about, if you have not read anything Colleen Hoover, you probably have heard of this book because it is absolutely everywhere. And if you had read at least one Colleen Hoover book and you have been persuaded to read it because of the internet, it's probably this book, which is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. It says, sometimes the one who loves you is the one who hurts you the most. This one has a lot of things that happen, and I definitely feel like you should look up trigger warnings if you're looking to read this book. There's a lot of issues that happen. It says, Lily hasn't always had it easy, but that's never stopped her from working hard for the life she wants. She comes a long way from a small town in Maine where she grew up. She graduated from college, moved to Boston, and started her own business. So when she feels a spark with a gorgeous neurosurgeon named Ryle, everything in Lily's life suddenly seems almost too good to be true. Ryle is assertive, stubborn, maybe even a little arrogant. He's also sensitive, brilliant, and has a total soft spot for Lily. But Ryle's complete aversion in relationship is disturbing. As questions about her relationship overwhelm her, so do thoughts of Atlas, her first love and a link to the past she left behind. He was her kindred spirit, her protector. When Atlas suddenly appears, everything Lily has built with Ryle is threatened. With this bold and deeply personal novel, Colleen Hoover delivers a heart-wrenching story that breaks exciting new ground for her as a writer. It Ends With Us is an unforgettable tale of love that comes with an ultimate price. So, that is the back of this book. Yeah, there's not much more that I can say without spoiling it. Definitely look up trigger warnings, like I said. Atlas and Lily, oh my gosh, I love their relationship. And I heard that Colleen Hoover is currently writing the sequel to this book, which is called It Starts With Us, and it has a gorgeous cover. I have yet to pre-order it, which I need to because it comes out in October, and I'm so excited to read it, even though this was not my favorite out of all of the Colleen Hoover books I read. It definitely had a huge impact on me, and it definitely was a 5-star read for me, so I cannot wait to read the second one. Alrighty, so let's talk about the next books in my stack here because we have quite a few still to get through, and that is Maybe Someday The Maybe series has 3 books, so it's Maybe Someday, Maybe Not, which is a novella, and it's only like 120 pages. And then there's Maybe Now, which I'll pop a picture on the screen over here because I currently do not own that book on paperback. I will be getting it, and I have already read it, just don't own it yet. But let's talk about these two, I guess, first. Maybe Someday. I have this thing where I'm really great at predicting what things are going to happen in books. And the things that happen in this book, I just didn't see coming. And I think maybe the only way to really tell you about this book is to read the back, because there's something that you find out about the characters in this book that I just didn't know going into it. And because you don't get any of that on the back, I mean, I guess you could look it up and see what the book is about completely. And I feel like if I told you about the characters and the struggles that they go through in that maybe that would persuade you to read the book more. But I do not want to give spoilers, like I said. And I didn't know that going into this book, and it was a surprise for me, but it was my favorite part about this book. So it says, at 22 years old, Sydney is enjoying a great life. She is in college, working a steady job, and in love with a wonderful boyfriend, Hunter, and rooming with her best friend, Tori. But everything changes when she discovers that Hunter is cheating on her, and she's forced to decide what her next move should be. Soon, Sydney finds herself captivated by the mysterious and attractive neighbor, Ridge. She can't take her eyes off of him or stop listening to the passionate ways he plays guitar every evening on his balcony. And there's something about Sydney and Ridge that Ridge can't ignore either. They soon find themselves needing each other in more ways than one. Yeah, I absolutely loved this book. It deals with a lot of stuff, a lot of questioning their lives, and I wish so badly that I could tell people the things that happen in this book. Maybe I will do a video of talking about Colleen Hoover books with spoilers, so that way I can discuss the topics in these books and maybe create a discussion in the comments of people that have already read them. But I do not want to give away anything, so I don't know if anybody would be interested in doing that, so that way we can have a discussion about books. But yeah, I love this book. Then there's Maybe Not, which is the novella. This one does not have Sydney and Ridge. Well, they're side characters in this book basically, but the two main characters in this book are not you do not get their point of views in this book. This is about Warren and Bridget, which are roommates to Sydney and Ridge in the first book, and you get their relationship together. And I just love this book, and I didn't know that this one here wasn't actually about the two main characters, but I really love this one because you get a sneak peek of Warren and Bridget's relationship in the background of this book, and then when you get to this book, you are like so excited to see how they became a couple, which is I loved it. It was super cute. Definitely once you read this one, you kind of get the whole friends with benefit vibes going into this book here about these two characters. That's all I'm going to say. And also, the time frame of this book is during the same time frame as this book, but in the other characters' point of views. And then Maybe Now, which now I'll pop a picture on the screen of that one, is the last final book in the Maybe series. And that one there was, I think, probably, it's still a 5-star read for me, but it was my least favorite out of all 3 of them. And that one has point of views of Maggie and Jake, which is a new character that you do not see in the other books. Also Sydney and Ridge. There's a whole bunch of point of views of the characters, and I really enjoyed seeing them as a whole in that one as well, and just finally wrapping up the series at the end. and obviously it's a Colleen Hoover book, you get these beautiful happy endings, so it was just nice to see a final wrap up of all of the characters. So I really enjoyed that entire series. The next book I'm going to talk about was my very first book that I ever picked up by Colleen Hoover, and that is Ugly Love. I actually watch a girl here on YouTube, Steph Boyer, I think that's how you say her last name. She was talking about how this is her one of her like all-time favorite books. It kept popping up after that, so I was like, I need to pick up this book, and I hadn't heard anything about the author before this one, and I think I picked this one up early last year, so I feel like I haven't been a Coho fan for that long, but this is the one that started it. This one is about Tate Collins and Miles Archer. Maybe I should just read the back again. I feel bad for like not just coming up with like a synopsis instead of just reading the back of the book to you, but like I said, it's really hard to explain books when you don't want to spoil them, and obviously the synopsis on the back gives you that information without spoilers, I guess. So this one says, it's not exactly love at first sight for Tate Collins when she meets the tormented and secretive Miles Archer. They wouldn't even go as far as to consider themselves friends. The only thing Tate and Miles have in common is a mutual physical attraction that can't be denied. Once their desires are out in the open, they realize they might have stumbled on the perfect no-strings arrangement. He isn't looking for love, and she doesn't have time for it, so that leaves just the sex. What they've got could be surprisingly satisfying as long as Tate can stick to the 2 rules Miles has for her. Never ask about the past and don't expect a future. They think they can handle it, but everything is different when the real emotions start to change the equation. This book, like I said, was my first read, but for the longest time, and I'm not going to say which one is now, but for the longest time, this was my favorite Colleen Hoover book. And then I read a different one that changed my mind. This one here I absolutely love because it is brother's best friend trope, friends with benefits, secret dating, well, I guess not dating, secret relationship, I guess. The ending of this had me crying, and I love the cover as well. One of my favorite covers from Colleen Hoover's books. Yeah, this one here has stuck with me like throughout this, whole Colleen Hoover ride that I've been on. This one here is absolutely like pulled at my heartstrings. Loved it so much, and is what got me into reading Colleen Hoover. So of course this one is like my baby. The next one that I'm going to talk about is November 9. One of the most interesting concepts I have ever come across for like a romance book, which I think is super cool. So this book is about our 2 main characters, Fallon and Ben, and basically they meet up every single year on November 9th. And this cover, like, they actually redid this cover, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a huge fan of the new cover. My sister picked up this book after I did, and she got the newest cover, and she was like super heartbroken that she didn't get the old cover, which I think this one is definitely more descriptive of the book. You get like the November 9 on the front, you get like the pages, you get the look. If you look in 9, has like the city in the background. The new book is like a blue with like a pink flower on it, and honestly I don't remember where the flowers come into play in the book, or if they even do, honestly, because I think this is like, I read this a while ago, but yeah, I just love this old cover, and I'm glad that I have the whole cover. So it says, Fallon meets Ben, an inspiring novelist, the day of her scheduled cross-country move. Ultimately, attraction leads them to spend Fallon's last day in LA together, and her eventful life becomes the creative inspiration Ben has always sought out for his novel. Over time and amidst the various relationships and tribulations of their separate lives, they continue to meet on the same day every year until one day Fallon becomes unsure if Ben has been telling her the truth or fabricating a perfect reality for the sake of the ultimate plot twist. Can Ben's relationship with Fallon and simultaneously his novel be considered a love story if it ends in heartbreak? So basically, they live totally separate lives and they only meet up and speak to each other on November 9. So yeah, they only communicate on November 9. They don't have any way of talking to each other otherwise, but he is writing a novel based on, you know, this whole romance, and she kind of wonders if maybe their relationship isn't all what she thought it would be. And obviously they live separate lives besides meeting up that one day every single year, so they have other relationships, they have other things going on, and you get to find out, are they going to be together in the end? This one here was a really fun read. The twists and turns, and obviously Colleen Hoover has these amazing plot twists at the end. Really enjoyed it. 5 stars. The next book I'm talking about is Colleen Hoover's YA book. I'm not sure if this is the only one, but she doesn't have very many young adult ones. So if you are looking to start Colleen Hoover and you're not sure about, you know, like if they are your thing, I feel like this one here is really good. It is Heartbones by Colleen Hoover, and this one here was one of my top like wanting to read books by Colleen Hoover, and it took me quite a while to purchase it on paperback and finally read it. So it says, Bea comes from a life of poverty and neglect, Samson from a family of wealth. When the two find themselves spending the summer as neighbors, they soon realize money is one of the things they don't have in common. Their bond is too intense to ignore, but with only the summer separating them from the start of their new lives on opposite ends of the country, Bea and Samson decide to stay in the shallow end of a summer fling. What they don't realize is that a rip current is coming and is about to drag both their hearts out to sea. There's so many really cool things in this book that were, you know, like twists and turns I didn't expect. Loved it a lot, and I definitely think this is like a quick summer easy read that I should have read on the beach but didn't. But I really enjoyed this one. I have already read, so maybe we'll start with Regretting You. If I'm being honest, I was not excited to pick up this book, and I'm actually not sure why, because I really loved this book. I think it was because when I was reading the back, it's about a mother and a daughter, and I'm more so about like I don't like reading books with like parents, like single parent tropes or you know, family kind of thing. I like just reading like, you know, guy meets girl, girl meets guy kind of thing. I think that's maybe why I didn't pick this one up. Morgan Grant and her 16-year-old daughter Clara would like to be anything more than nothing alike. Morgan is determined to prevent her daughter from making the same mistakes she did by getting pregnant and married way too young. Morgan put her own dreams on hold. Clara doesn't want to follow in her mother's footsteps. Her predictable mother doesn't have a spontaneous bone in her body. With warring personalities and conflicting goals, Morgan and Clara find it increasingly difficult to coexist. The only person who can bring peace to the household is Chris, Morgan's husband, Clara's father, and the family anchor. But the peace is shattered when Chris is involved in a tragic and questionable accident. The heartbreaking and long-lasting consequences will reach far beyond just Morgan and Clara. With struggle to rebuild everything that crashed around them, Morgan finds comfort in the last person she expects to, and Clara returns to the one boy she's been forbidden to see. With each passing day, new secrets and resentments and misunderstandings make mother and daughter fall further apart. So far apart, it might be impossible for them to fall back together. You get dual point of view. It bounces back and forth chapter to chapter between the mother and the daughter. So you get what the daughter's doing, what the mother's doing. Also, you get chapters that go back in time to when the mother and the husband are first falling in love. And then you get the daughter's first falling in love romance as well, with somebody she goes to school with. but like the back says, the father passes away, the mother and daughter don't get along, and the only way they really did connect was between the father kind of keeping the family together. But now that he's gone, they don't get along. There's a lot of things that happen. There's questionable things about his death and, you know, what they thought it was and what it turns out to be. And I really enjoyed the mother-daughter duo, the relationship when they finally, you know, get on common ground every once in a while. I think it is so beautiful. Last book I'm going to talk about that I own is Verity by Colleen Hoover. You might be thinking, Stephanie, you are a romance reader, you just told us that, but this one is a thriller. But it is a romance thriller, and it was Colleen, so that is what prompted me to pick this book up. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have. But I was pleasantly surprised on how much I enjoyed this book. Okay, so I'm going to read you the back of this book. Lo and Ashley is a struggling writer on the brink of a financial ruin when she accepts the job offer of a lifetime. Jeremy Crawford, husband of best-selling author Verity Crawford, has hired Lowen to complete the remaining books in a successful series his injured wife is unable to finish. Lowen arrives at the Crawford home ready to sort through years of Verity's notes and outlines, hoping to find enough material to get her started. What Lowen doesn't expect to uncover is a chaotic office and an unfinished autobiography Verity has never intended for anyone to read. Page after page of bone-chilling admissions, including Verity's recollection of the night their family was forever altered. Lowen decides to keep the manuscript hidden from Jeremy, knowing its contents would devastate the already grieving father. But as Lowen's feelings for Jeremy begin to intensify, she recognizes all the ways she should benefit if he were to read his wife's words. After all, no matter how devoted Jeremy is to his injured wife, a truth this horrifying would make it impossible for him to continue to love her. I was on the edge of my seat reading this book. The parts that were like the thriller parts were like, I feel like I could picture it happening, and it was like, it gave me chills. Now it wasn't like super creepy or anything like that, but I definitely felt like the way Colleen Hoover wrote it, it was almost like you were envisioning what was happening, and like, I don't know, I just felt like the thriller aspect was there. I haven't read anything like it before. Thought it was really awesome, and maybe persuades me to one day pick up a thriller book. Don't know how soon that will be, do not quote me on that, but this made me change my mind on whether I can read things. Like, I feel like it still has to have romance in it is my main thing, but I could also read books that are not just romance, that also have something in it, and that is thanks to Verity by Colleen Hoover. Now, I do own 2 other books by Colleen Hoover, which I just haven't gotten to read yet, and there is reasons for that, my own reasons, and I'm going to tell you about those. So for these 2 here, I have All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover. I actually just hauled this book, did not own it before, and kind of wanted to read the paperback instead of reading it on my phone, so I haven't gotten to that one yet. This one here, I can't really tell you what it is about exactly, but basically just from what I heard about it is about a man and a woman who is on the brink of divorce, I would say. They're having troubles with their marriage, and it bounces from chapter to chapter to you seeing their marriage on the rocks, and then back to when they were first falling in love and seeing how their relationship was so good. And it's so heart-wrenching, and made a lot of people cry, they said, because it was just like, you see how in love they were, and then you come back to the next chapter and like they're fighting and, you know, all those things. Like I said, I haven't read this one yet, but I'm really excited to get to it, and I'm so happy that I got the new cover for this book, because I didn't absolutely love the old cover with the people on it. I really loved this one here, so happy to have gotten that cover. That is why I was actually holding out on buying that book, because I wanted the new cover. And then the other book I have that I haven't read is Layla, and this one is a and that one is the paranormal romance. Honestly, the reason why I'm not picking it up yet is because the fact that it's not like a really, obviously it's not a rom-com, but that is currently what I'm reading, is like more like rom-com romances, definitely nothing with paranormal things happening. So I think that's why I have yet to pick this book up yet. It's very daunting, I guess, because it's not, I mean, even though it's romance, it's not totally my genre, but it's Colleen, so I definitely will be picking this one up. I have one other book to talk about that I have read by Colleen Hoover, and I do not own that one, so I'll pop a picture up on the screen. I'm not going to go into much detail about it because I have talked about it. I think I did. I think I talked about it in my last video, which was Confess by Colleen Hoover. And this one here, obviously, if you watched the beginning of the video and you've stuck around this long, it's about art, and I went to art school, so of course this was one that I was so excited to read. The cover is beautiful. It follows our two main characters, which I actually can't tell you what their names are because I can't remember. And I'm currently filming on my phone, so I can't look it up. Follows our two main characters, and the male main character is a artist who is painting pictures based on people's confessions, and the woman in this, I really should have looked up the names. The woman main character walks by his art studio one day, and she sees a note up in the window saying he's looking to hire people, and she's kind of desperate for more money at the moment. So she's like, oh, I'm gonna knock on the door and see what this is all about. And when he opens the door, she's like, oh my gosh, like, this man is beautiful. And she wants to know more about this position and whether she wants to be hired by this guy. She doesn't even know what this is about, and he basically needs a receptionist for one of his like open houses. So he, once a month I believe it is, he puts all of his paintings up on display. It's either once a month or like once a year or something. He puts all of his paintings up on display and people bid on them, and his receptionist slash ex-girlfriend just quit on him, and now he needs somebody to work the desk to, you know, put in all of the sales and all that kind of stuff. So she decides she's going to do it. Obviously there's a connection between the two of them, and a romance sparks. She doesn't know too much about him, and she wants to know more, and decides to see him again. I think it's a really cute romance. I loved the fact that there was art in the book, and even though I read this on my phone, I got to see the pictures, so I'm excited to own it in paperback so I can really look at the paintings in the books and appreciate them. Yeah, I just really enjoyed the story. There's other things that happen in this book as well that you don't know about. Definitely gave me vibes of Reminders of Him, if you know what I mean. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say why, but definitely reminded me of Reminders of Him. Alrighty, so that is all of the books that I can currently talk about. Like I said, there's a lot of other books that I do not own yet by Colleen Hoover. I just think of a couple of them, like the Hopeless series. I don't own Without Merit. The Slammed series. I definitely want to get into some of those ones as well. Those are some of Colleen Hoover's older books, which I know I'm going to love either way. But now I'm going to try and rank the ones I have currently read. So they could change over time to like what's my favorite and what comes in like first, second, and third place. But I can only rank what I've read. Okay guys, so here we go. I'm going to I picked 7. This video is already long enough, so I'm just going to go quickly through and tell you what my top 7 Colleen Hoover books are right now. Let's start at number 7. With number 7 comes Reminders of Him. That is my 7th, I guess, top favorite book by Colleen Hoover. In the 6th place, we've got Heartbones by Colleen Hoover. In 5th place, we've got It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. In 4th place, we've got November 9. In 3rd place, surprisingly, because it's not my genre, is Verity. In 2nd place, we've got Ugly Love. In my top spot, and unfortunately cannot tell you the reasons why I absolutely love this book because it would spoil it, is Maybe Someday by Colleen Hoover. I feel like a lot of people would enjoy this book more if they gave this one a chance as opposed to all of the most popular ones. It definitely doesn't get enough hype, and yeah, I feel like I need to make a spoilers video to talk about this book, but this is my all-time favorite currently. Like I said, I haven't read all the other ones, but this one is my favorite Colleen Hoover book, and this one is a very close second. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this book video all about my favorite author, Colleen Hoover, and maybe it prompted you to pick up or read another Colleen Hoover book or start reading Colleen Hoover. Thank you so much for watching. Would love for you to subscribe and grow this small little channel. I did so amazing on my last video, so thank you so much for all of the awesome people who subscribed after watching my last video. It got so many views, the most views I've had on my channel, and I really appreciate that. It also helped gain more subscribers. There was a lot of amazing comments on that video, and people in the book community on YouTube are just so nice and so welcoming. So I just wanted to shout that out and say thank you to everybody who has been so supportive of the channel and just even clicking on the video. I really appreciate it. So thank you so much for watching, and happy reading. Bye.